Good afternoon from Leeds. I'm Anne Maguire outside Corpus Christi Catholic College. Lessons are happening here today as per timetable, but not as usual, as of course staff and pupils try to come to terms with, try to deal with the loss of a woman who was so greatly loved at this school and indeed by the wider community. Anne Maguire had taught here for 40 years. She was at the very heart of the school, and she was much more than a teacher, as many of the past pupils I've been speaking to this morning have told me. On the fence behind, or against the fence behind me, dozens and dozens, into the hundreds now probably, of floral tributes and messages left for Anne Maguire's family. One boy stuck up a photo of himself and the teacher. Her smile shines out of that, as it does in all the other photographs that have been left here. And that boy wrote a message: "Mrs. Maguire, I'm not winging it any longer." And you can just hear in that very poignant message words of advice that she had given to him that had clearly had such an influence on him. And that's the message I've heard over and over again from pupils of hers, that she has had such a positive influence on their lives. Well, police are questioning today a 15-year-old boy about the death of Mrs. Maguire. They have confirmed that she died from multiple stab wounds. This report is from Jane Frances Kelly.
Pupils arrived at school today, some still visibly shocked and saddened. Floral tributes have been left, bringing colour to a sombre scene. A football shirt was put up by the Year 11 team to clearly a much-loved teacher. Yesterday, Anne Maguire was stabbed in front of her pupils during a lesson. A 15-year-old boy was detained by other teachers.
The suspect does remain in custody and will be interviewed at some point during today. Given his young age, this is a process which needs to be handled very sensitively and may take some time to complete.
Earlier, prayers were said for Anne Maguire during morning mass at the local church attached to the college. The well-attended service provided comfort for many. One former pupil described her as inspirational.
I'd just describe her as a really bubbly, smiley, friendly woman. She was just, every time you would walk past her, she would just always smile, say hi, ask how you are. I mean, even when we left, we could always come back in and visit Mrs. Maguire and just talk to her, and she'd always be asking how we are and how we're doing, and she'd always say how proud she was of us.
Anne Maguire taught at Corpus Christi for more than 4 decades. She joined the school as a student teacher. This was her in the 1980s. The 61-year-old Spanish teacher was due to retire in September. One mother said she is pleased the school has remained open so pupils can be together and receive specialist support.
As a parent, I brought him today knowing that he's got that support in that school today. And as I've walked down to the school, I'm quite happy of the amount of people that actually turned up today.
Mrs. Maguire leaves behind a husband, 2 adult daughters, and generations of students and colleagues who remember her with great affection and fondness. Jane Frances Kelly, BBC News.